Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. You guys loved the last time I did a Clash Royale news update video, so we're going to do it again. We're going to make this a regular every season staple video, and we're going to talk about a variety of topics, including the official Clash Royale Reddit account responding about win trading in Elite Barbarians. We're going to talk about a variety of community news, including Pompeo joining Nova, and a few other things that I have in store for you guys. Before we get to that, in case you guys missed it, the double Elixir challenge is back. However, it has been tweaked a little bit. The format will now be, instead of 10 gems, it will cost 50 gems, and the rewards will be half that of a grand challenge, and there's no free entry. And while this will inevitably bum out some people, the Royale team acknowledged that it will, and they said they're just trying something new for this challenge. Now, in some other lighter news here, check out this sweet ride by Backstab X. He was the winner of the crown duel over in LA. Congratulations, Backstab. You're a great player and also a great guy. Got to meet him and chat with him a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and put on some replays here. Nothing too crazy. I'll show a couple wins and a loss or two as well. But before we do that, let's move on to the next news item here. And this is the fantastical Q&A that was given by an official player support staff member, either hired by Supercell or somehow representing Supercell. And that was confirmed. If you want to go ahead and pause and take a look, it's definitely nothing serious, but it was interesting that this employee kind of went rogue and provided a little bit of background if you guys like kind of lore type things. For example, the Electro Wizard apparently turned his back on the two schools of magic, which were previously ice and fire, and he learned to control lightning, and that's how he came to be. So that was confirmed to be 100% real, given by a player support person in-game, so that was really interesting. I'll include a link with the credit to the original poster in the description below. Moving along, guys, if you want to see this season's or the previous season's card popularity snapshot by Woody, A, I'll probably have him on either tomorrow or the next day to discuss it, and B, I'll include a link for those of you who can't wait in the description below. Speaking of guides, as you can see on the screen right now, there's an updated addendum to the how to tell what type of deck your opponent is playing by their first play, or by their first card play, I should say, by MWolverine. He's a great guide maker. I referenced that guide in a video I did last week on the importance of your first play, or the importance of your starting hand in the match, so I'll include the video and the link for that as well. Now, Pompeo recently announced that he is joining Nova, which is very interesting. They seem to have recruited him, and he is now one of their promoted players. He announced that on Twitter actually today, and that his new name will now be Nova Pompeo. So that is a big pickup for Nova. For those of you who don't know exactly how their kind of promotion players work, you might want to listen to the first interview I had with Trevor, the English-speaking leader of Nova. Definitely a controversial clan, but at the same time, well, you guys can hear all that story. I'm not going to get back into the Nova conversation. I promised you guys I wouldn't do it again, so I'm not going to. But that is big news, a big pickup for them. Pompeo, for those of you who don't know, is one of the world's best players. He actually made a big name for himself in a big way back when they had the really large tournaments for $2,000 that Bren Chong was hosting back in tournament week, along with a lot of the big content creators. I hosted one, Galadon hosted a bunch of them, and so on and so on. And for those who don't know, there's sort of a rivalry brewing, or it's probably already brewed, I guess is safe to say, between Arab Union and Nova, basically on to who can get the best players to represent them and who can, make it to the top of the leaderboard at the end of the season. So as the season winds down, take a look at the top of the leaderboard and see who's on top, and more importantly, at least to me and to your average clasher who's not going to get there themselves anyway, is who's doing it fairly, who's doing it without win trading at the end of the season. And speaking of win trading and Elite Barbarians and a bunch of other stuff, you guys might have missed because it didn't get a lot of attention, but there was a big "Why doesn't Supercell take responsibility for their actions" post on Reddit this morning. I'll go ahead and let you guys pause if you want to read the whole thing, but it's a well-written question basically about Elite Barbarians, about win trading, and a variety of other pain points in the community. Even though some of us, including me, are in disagreement with what needs to be done about Elite Barbarians, but that's a video for another day. In fact, I actually did did that video already, but let's go ahead and see what Clash Royale responded to that post. So they said the Elite Barbarian change, the buff, was on December 15th, less than 3 weeks ago. The guy was saying that it's been 2 months now that Elite Barbarians have been dominating the meta. He says, however, we recognize and acknowledge that they're powerful, but we're not sure what we want to do about them right now, as they're a really good dose of offense in the game. Check out OJ's latest video, which you guys should do as well. I'll link that in the description if you need to know anything about playing with or against them. Trophy dropping because of the clan chest event is a newer issue, but we'll fix this in time with incentives to stay higher, which is the right way to do it, by the way. And then they end by commenting on win trading. Win trading is always on our radar. We've done multiple under the hood changes to help prevent it already, and will continue to do so. Now, Trevor actually alluded to this in my very first interview with him. Again, Trevor is the leader of Nova, and Nova admittedly win traded a lot in the past, meaning like 2 months ago by themselves. I'm not getting into the controversy of if they still do or if they still did, but they did before, they admitted to, and they said that it became much more difficult, you know, with some recent patches that Clash Royale did. I won't get into the specifics in this video, but essentially, in a nutshell, in a very abbreviated version, they made it so you can't just press the button, look for a match at the same exact time as somebody else. Rather, you're entered into a queue where you have to wait 5 minutes. Everybody in the queue is kind of shuffled around, and then they're given a match after that, something to that extent. And I think, you know, talking to them a little bit behind the scenes about it, I think they really are really serious with instituting more and more measures to make sure it's more and more difficult for people to do, because sometimes you just have to have those measures in place in the game, because if it's not this clan doing it, it's going to be that clan or the other clan or another clan. So ultimately, the onus is on Supercell, and it looks like they're up to the task. Now, moving on here, I don't have a screenshot for this one, but a recent upset, surprisingly, with a forum versus Reddit war. So they had forum members versus Reddit in a big tournament. It was hosted about 3 or 4 days ago. I'm not sure if it's on YouTube. If any of you have a link to it, go ahead and let me know in the comments, or actually tweet me at clash_with_ash, and I'll include it in the description below. But basically, an upset, a surprise upset. I think a few guys from the Reddit team used maybe some troll decks. I don't know if they were troll decks, but they used Sparky decks, which I wouldn't think, not being in the meta right now, would be your go-to decks, and they actually lost versus the forum members. So that was a surprise victory for the forums versus Reddit. I'm sure Reddit is dying for a rematch. They have a lot of good players, so I think my money would be on them on a rematch. But hey, shout out to the forum people for picking up a very impressive victory in the contest. So let me go ahead and finish off by giving a huge shout out here to Lach from the forums for organizing these developer Q&As, and he put up a poll today asking what you guys want him to ask the Supercell developers next. So if you guys are a member of the Clash Royale forums, or even if you're not a member, if you want to go vote on which question he should ask next, go ahead and check that out. It's a good way to interact, and you know, it's a good opportunity for you to share maybe some of your concerns or even some of your praise with the Clash Royale development team. So be sure to check that out if you guys are interested. And last but not least, guys, check out this list of all my 2016 guests. That is, well, almost all of them, created by Mythja, by the way. Shout out to him. I'll include his YouTube channel in the description below, who made the banner. But we left out, or I left out mistakenly, Mini Minter and Arrow. Huge shout out to those guys. They're both great players, so my bad on that, but certainly a ton of familiar names. If you guys have anybody you'd like to see me include on the channel moving into 2017, you gotta let me know. The best way to let me know is on Twitter at ash_with_ash, and the best time to reach me on Twitter is between the hours of 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern time. I know that kind of sounds funny, but sometimes if I don't catch it overnight, I'll actually just lose track of all the tweets. So I don't want to leave anybody out. I want to definitely cast a wide net in the pros that I bring onto the channel. That's why I always try to keep an eye out for new players who are bringing a lot to the table in terms of being able to really articulate their strategy or just have really amazing achievements in the game. So guys, that is going to do it for today's Clash Royale news video. Did I miss any news? Is there something big that's going on that you think I should have covered that I didn't? Is there any different segments or any different format that you want me to implement for future news, community news videos? Go ahead and let me know in the comments, guys. I'll be sure to read them all. Can't respond to every single one, but I will read them, especially in the first 24 hours. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.